New Plymouth have one of their big days of the racing year tomorrow. There's an Oaks trial, a cracking 2-year-old race. There's the Cup and also a slot holders race. So, Jay, there's a lot to get into at New Plymouth tomorrow. I thought the first couple of races into the first 3 was sort of where you could go to build the account, because later on things might get a bit tricky. First on the card, only 5 horses, but nothing really definitive about them.
The way I've read this race is that Jason Waddell will be able to take Swiss Watch to the lead, control it. If he can get in front of Marlowe Bick and also have La Bella Rosa on the outside, and he can control it, sprint off the top, he'll be very hard to beat, much like he did at Hastings during the Carnival.
It's a funny thing, small fields, people sort of say to themselves, oh, you can come from the back. Often you can't. We saw the other day Lord Arthur at Hastings. They just get on the speed and they dominate the ones on front, and they go slow and come home in 34. And being back in the field can be a disadvantage.
Position and time, they're still things. So if you're 4 lengths off the top and they're sprinting quickly, that's physically impossible to make ground. Talking
about time, he's gone Swiss Watch. See what we did there? Yeah, it's almost a comedy show. Okay, second on the card coming out of New Plymouth, and look, even Phil, Portland Jimmy's a horse who likes to hit the line hard, but 60.5, even with Chris Johnson on, gee, that's a lot of weight. Cinerama smashed 2 starts ago, 20,000, bookies get the barbecue. Next time, 20,000 goes on again, bookies get it back. 2.6 tomorrow, they'll be taking no chances with her.
I think there's enough speed in the race that will help her. I think they'll run along with Neeson, even go Bite Stacey and Portland Jimmy. There's enough there that she can be settled midfield by Jonathan Parks, come with that run that could bring her into the race. That said, I don't have much between Portland Jimmy, When Harry Met Saddle, and also her. She is very much being stood out as a high quality horse. I think she is, but those two at the top, even though they're giving weight, they're running well. Portland Jimmy on a hard speed didn't give it away like he was possibly entitled to last time. He had an excuse. And When Harry Met Saddle has been smashing the line.
When somebody had 20,000 on her, I don't know who it was, 2 starts ago, and she bolted, and I was just riding it home. I was loving it. I love it when the bookies get barbecued. I want to barbecue them in race 3. I think ScoMo Eager will win, and they've given you a backable price. I thought it might go, in fact, it still might go around $2. I know you think Alamana may manipulate the speed, but even if it does, surely I think Vinny is a good enough rider to go forward and maybe try and get the trail on ScoMo Eagle. Just got too far back at Trentham. If it's in the trail, I'm happy to be on it.
That's the question. If he can find a spot behind Island Bay Otavio, who look like the speed, and not get too far off Alamana, then yeah, I'm with you. I thought that Alamana might be able to settle a pair closer, and therefore get that first run. But I respect what you're saying around ScoMo Eagle and his form as well.
Yeah, I think Vinny could be in for a couple of big weeks. There's a lot of riders who aren't going to be riding in the next month or so. So, yeah, Vinny Colgan could be the go-to man for some of those. Wouldn't be surprised to see him on Surely Sacred, to be honest, for the Waikato Guineas. This is a good race. Scotch is an unbeaten 2-year-old. Miss Federer was good in the South Island. Has to be good, has Caracamillion type form around Probabeel. And none of them are favourite, because Folk Dress turned up at the Cambridge Trials and won by a cricket pitch. Gee, that's a big ask. A debutante favourite for a serious race. How often does that happen and they win?
Oh, look, I mean, Tiako do it in the early season races, but it's, as you say, a stakes race. When you've got a horse like Has to Be Good, who has been good, even though a maiden behind the best form we have.
Within 1 length of Probabeel. So, what do you make of it?
Well, she should get one of the runs of the race, just in behind the speed. But look, if Folk Dress can be jumped cleanly out of the barriers, I saw enough in that trial that could have her hard to run down. It should be a competitive race, because there is a lot of speed drawn wide there, and if there is too much pressure, then that might end up telling on the debutante, and Has to Be Good could pick up the pieces.
Yeah, this won't be in the Te Akau colours. This one mainly owned by Coolmore. Of course, they had Paulonia with Jamie Richards last year, so great to see Coolmore long leaf here last week. Those blue colours in the country, that's more dosh for everybody involved. On to the 5th on the card, coming out of this big program. And what a great thing this is. Summer Challenge race, it's a slot race. People buy slots and they go looking for horses. And look, Vigor Winner looks a proper horse in the making. Troy Harris, back in form at Hastings the other day, copped a suspension. He'll look to get off that so he can ride Melody Bell next week. Here's a young man who's trying to get his summer back on track. This might help.
there's a bit about this horse that I like, and not just the fact that he sat 3 wide at Hastings and put a gap in them, which is not easy to do over a sprint trip. I think the way the shape of this race is, that wide draw is not nearly as disadvantageous as maybe what it looks like. There's enough of a run, 1400 metre shoot, that I think Harris will be able to work forward and potentially sit outside of the lead and just rate Vigor Winner. The turn of foot that he managed to show, having sat wide at Hastings last start, says that he's better. I know this is special conditions made and there are winners in there. I think he's a horse of real quality. I liked his gallop. I like what I saw of him at Ellerslie on the Monday before Karaka Million Day. I think he's a pretty special galloper, actually.
Okay, he's top pick, 2.7 for Jason there. Well done to Taranaki. These slot races built a lot of interest, and good luck to all the slot holders involved. The Oaks Prelude is a race which sees Jackal Bomb coming out of a very strong race at Trentham, and you're thinking, why are they giving me $5? I don't understand. Because the 16 next to its name, that's the problem. It draws 4 to 8, it starts $3, but she hasn't, and therefore she won't.
I can make cases for speccing Jackal Bomb mainly, and also a late and easy Milady of the numbers that I have. That's not to say that VCC, Wild Seas and Clementina can't make the necessary step forward. Obviously, the first two I mentioned, VCC and Wild Seas, are coming off maiden wins, and Clementina hasn't yet won a race. However, she looks like the more ground she gets over, the more likely she will be able to win a race against their own sex. So I can see why the bookmakers have that group of horses who are better drawn than the others short, but I'm happy to bet Jackal Bomb.
Yeah, fully understandable. I think a late's got a chance at the $13. I wouldn't back it at $5 or $6, but the James Wellwood horses I do like in anything resembling a staying race. Often they train them that way, although saying that this season they do have a couple of tasty 2-year-olds in that 2-year-old event as well. That's a good race, but this is probably even better. The Taranaki Cup with Platinum Homes as the sponsor, and well, Consensus got back to her best form in the right type of race, the Trentham Stakes last time out. They found her, she's 2.5, there's no real spoil there, but she might follow St. Emilion across, Jason, and I thought that could see a posse up handy enough. Vinda Dance is awfully short. I know Baker Forsman get them fit, but he's going to need to be fit to win fresh up over 1,800 metres.
I found it really difficult to price Vinda Dance, so that's the weakness in how I've assessed this. And that obviously makes me a little bit standoffish for the race in general. Over the river, I still felt that considered was value at $7.50 and $2.45. You look West Coast form, is that going to be good enough? Well, it's set weight and penalties this race. This horse should be conceding all other runners' weight, similar to when he lined up in the Manawatu Cup 3 starts ago, where he flashed into third carrying 60. I respect Consensus, don't get me wrong, on her last time. She's $2.50, take it or leave it if you like, but I prefer the price around Over the River. Those two clearly stand out as the hardest to beat Consensus and Over the River.
Should be a decent tempo because the old fella St. Emilion is in there, and as we know, he just loves to get out there and roll along. If Consensus follows him across, well, could get the right type of sit. Chris Johnson, of course, expertly rode her last time out at Trentham. On to the next on the card. After all these great races, we get back to a very, very even contest where Collins Street's $4, but I'll tell you what, I'm not sure that'll hold up because this is a market where once they come for one, it could continue to come. I wouldn't be surprised to see Constantina start favourite.
Yeah, and she's a horse that from that draw, 2,000 metres, will be sitting in the first 4, get every opportunity. Track pattern should be well known by this stage, whether it is even and they're able to come from all across or whether the inside is a little bit hot. Happy with Collins Street at this stage as the bet in the race, but look, even Hoist is not a bad sort of galloper. Remarks is at $18 and that's in reasonable form. Narvik, a little bit hit and miss. All in Stitches, it's by Z. The 2,000 is good. Maybe a little bit more aqua around would help it, but still, it's running well enough. But I've settled on Collins Street.
Okay. If you're having one bet tomorrow at Taranaki, what would it be?
Vigor Winner is my bet of the weekend, so I have to go with that. So, yeah.
Okay, Vigor Winner for him at Taranaki tomorrow. All this we previewed again tomorrow morning on the Punters Lounge. We'll talk about what's happened with the tracks overnight. We'll talk about the inside thoughts from the trainers. We'll talk about these jockeys and the jockey merry-go-round and where they're all going and what it all means and who's advantaged and disadvantaged by that. 2 domestic meetings tomorrow, plenty of Australian racing going on as well. If you're having a punt, good luck. Hope you have a great weekend.